Hello, welcome to Growing in Uncertainty. My name is Tess Miller, and I am the owner of the seminar and coaching business Wings Unfolded, where I help professionals who love what they do but aren't really sure where it's going. This is Ophira. She decided that she wanted to join us today. Rather than have her meow in the background, I thought I would just have her on my lap. We'll see how long that lasts. So in today's episode, I want to talk about the idea of being happy about being sad. That sounds pretty counterintuitive, but there's of course a story that goes along with that. My husband and I were going for a walk the other night. We had just put away all of the Christmas decorations. And normally we feel pretty good about putting away Christmas because by the time we do put Christmas away, everything has been out for about a month anyway, and we're kind of sick of the music and we're sick of seeing the same decorations everywhere. So putting it away is like clearing a path for the new year to come in. And so we noticed though that this year we were feeling really sad, both of us. We kept making comments to each other as we were putting things away about, but we just got this out. And there was a lot more melancholy about putting things away. So as we were talking about, why was it so much harder this year to put Christmas away? Suddenly Scott said, actually, I'm really happy that I'm sad. And I said, okay, what does that mean to you? And he said that if he weren't so sad, then he wouldn't realize that there were so many things that happened in the last year that he really was happy about. And that also seemed like a surprising statement given everything that happened in 2020 to make so many changes in our lives and put a pause on going out in public, and any plans we might have had for family vacations were gone. It seemed like there were a lot of dark spots in 2020, but at the same time we realized, hey, wait a minute, there were a lot of really good spots in 2020 that we need to honor and recognize. But also that sadness came from the memory of years past where we didn't have a pandemic to think about. But again, it's good that we could be sad about looking back on those times and wishing that those times were here. Because if we didn't have those happy times, then, what good would that be for us? So knowing that we were sad meant that there were times in our life that we were really, really happy and are still happy. So often we try to avoid the sad times in our lives. We try to push them away, or we try to distract ourselves. But the sadness really is the way into measuring the happiness that is there in our lives. There's so many quotes to that effect, about light and dark, for example. One of them is, there is no light without darkness. That was said by Mark Frost. Another one is, hope is being able to see that there is light despite all the darkness. And that was said by Desmond Tutu. Another one, however vast the darkness, we must supply our own light. Stanley Kubrick. Victor Hugo said, even the darkest night will end and the sun will rise. There's so many quotes about light and dark times in our lives. You get the picture. So after settling on the idea that our sadness was not really the enemy, we were able to shift our conversation to all of the happy memories from the year. For example, we started so many new traditions this year that we wouldn't otherwise have started if we hadn't had a pandemic going on. I noticed in our pictures that we had way more ice cream this year. We made our own ice cream. We took ice cream to different places. You know, we didn't go to ice cream places necessarily and order ice cream, but we would buy cartons of ice cream and take them around to different points in town and eat our own handmade ice cream cones. This year also meant that we could spend so much more time with family. They were the people that we were living with, of course, but it meant that all those years that we might have said, oh, I wish I had more time to spend with my kid or, spend with each other. Well, we definitely had that this year. And we also found new ways of spending or saving our money. Our relationship with money has certainly changed over the course of this year in really, really good ways. And one really interesting discovery that I made is that we took twice as many pictures this year as we did in 2019. I didn't compare it with other years, but I was amazed by how many pictures we took. I'm not sure why we didn't go on any vacations. There were fewer gatherings with friends and family. But I think maybe over the course of the year, there was a sense of wanting to capture the essence of how different this year was. And we definitely did that. So going through our photos from this year was actually really fun to see how much we did do. So anyway, as we were listing off all of the happy moments of the year, we started thinking about the year coming up, 2021. And, we started thinking about, all right, we are going into a winter this time, which is harder, I think, in some ways than where we were back in March when the pandemic really started for us and we were all on lockdown. At least we had the warm summer months to look forward to. In this case, we're kind of staring down at a winter, and yes, there are vaccines, but it's going to be a while before those are out. And it's going to be a while even after we get vaccines before we really feel comfortable going out in public life again. I think there's going to be a transition period for all of us. So we started to think about, well, what are we going to do about that? The coming winter months and being inside. Well, I suggested that maybe we need to be creatively intentional about planning the fun times for the months ahead. We might have to use a lot of that creativity and think of new things that we can do in the winter. And pretty soon we were coming up with ideas as we were walking. And as we came up with more ideas, we actually started looking forward to the new year again, and we stopped feeling so sad about putting Christmas away. It's so easy to get stuck in the sadness, though. I think that's why a lot of people talk about the post-holiday blues. It's understandable that people want to distract themselves from the sadness. But in this case, what we did was we allowed the sadness to remind us of all the ways that we feel happy, all of the things that make us feel happy. And once we remembered what was happy about this past year, we could start making plans to do fun things in the coming year and to anticipate those happy moments that will inevitably happen over the course of the year. You might not always be able to plan those happy times out, when they're going to happen, where or why they're going to happen, but those happy times are going to be there. So in a way, as we were walking, we were setting our New Year's intentions. Now, I know a lot of people, when they come to a new year, they like to set New Year's resolutions. But I kind of decided a few years ago that I don't like the word resolution, probably because I've had times when I've set resolutions and then totally forgot about them, like 1 or 2 weeks into the new year, and then thought about them later in the year and felt really guilty or ashamed that I didn't even do anything with those resolutions. Instead, I really like to set intentions. Intentions for me have more to do with what I want to create in the year They're not have-tos. I intend to do that. There isn't really as much of an expectation that you're going to see this through to the end, and if you don't, then you've failed in some way. So, and I also feel like intentions are a little bit more empowering. They come from the inside out, rather than saying, oh, I should do this. I'm going to make this my resolution because I should lose weight this year. I should exercise more. I should eat better. I should take up this specific hobby. Intentions, they're more empowering when you say, I intend to lose weight. There isn't that should there anymore. It feels much more like it's coming from a place inside that says, I want to do this, rather than I should. I intend to lose weight. I intend to take up this hobby. I intend to exercise more. Intentions can also be used for taking ownership of how you want to feel, or what you want to experience in your life. For example, one of my real intentions this year is to feel more joy over the course of the year. I also intend to express more gratitude. And then another one that I plan on talking about next week on growing in uncertainty is that I intend to experience more freedom. Again, I'll talk more about that next year and what freedom means to me. Stating intentions gets my imagination going. I start to see myself taking steps toward whatever it is that I'm intending. And it also removes all that shame and guilt if something happens to prevent me from following through with my intentions. What if I injure myself and I'm not able to exercise? Well, I had the intention, but I understand sometimes life doesn't work out that way. Or if you intended to take up a hobby, a very specific hobby, but then discovered, I kind of like this other hobby better. Well, at least you took up a hobby. So I have an activity for you to try. This will always be posted on Facebook, so if you need to come back and read about the steps of this little activity, you can always do that. But this is an activity for dealing with the post-holiday blues, if you're experiencing any of that right now. Or if you're finding it hard to look at the idea of facing a winter during a pandemic, this also is a good activity for that. So the first thing you want to do is find a piece of paper and a pen that you really like to write with. And then brainstorm a list of all of your happy memories from 2020. They can be big happies, they can be really small happies, like I made my favorite breakfast more days than not. I don't know, just write everything down that made you just even a little bit happy this year. Next to each happy memory, you're going to write down how that memory made you feel. What feeling came up for you? Was it nostalgic? Was it excited? Was it joyful? Just think of as many of the feeling words that are associated with those activities that brought you joy. Once you've done that, you're going to get another piece of paper and you're going to brainstorm all of the things that you could do this winter that might bring up some of those feelings for you. Anything at all, large or small. Sometimes the smaller things are a little bit more manageable. So, that's why I say it doesn't have to be humongous acts of happiness. They can be really small shifts in how you do your schedule. It can be a different thought. I think this year I want to wake up thinking I'm enough. Whatever it is, make it small ways that you can demonstrate that you care about yourself. That's essentially what we're doing, right? We're taking care of ourselves. after you have your list of what you could do this winter, take out another piece of paper, sorry trees, or use your computer, doesn't really matter, or your phone. There's that lovely little notes app on our phones. You could certainly do that. Write down your New Year's intentions at this point. These can be big activities, projects that you intend to accomplish. They can be feelings, just general ways that you want to be in your life over the course of the year. Come up with, it doesn't have to be a lot of intentions. Sometimes fewer is better. You can concentrate more on just a few than you can a whole list. So don't overwhelm yourself with a ton of intentions. And then if you really want to go crazy, then you can get your calendar out and you can start scheduling some of those activities for yourself. Maybe scatter them out over the next 3 or 4 months. And then you have something that you can look forward to in the coming winter months. See how that shifts your feeling about coming out of the holiday season and moving into a new year. So I hope that exercise helps you finish this year on a really positive note and helps your creative juices to get flowing for the new year. To learn more about how you can work with me or how you can get free resources and tools for creating your best life, check out my website, www.tess-miller.com. Please subscribe to my weekly email list if you have not already done so. That's how you can get updates on my live shows, developments in my offerings, and any other free resources I add to my website. You can sign up for my list on my website by filling out the information on the homepage. And you can also connect with me on Facebook under my business name, Wings Unfolded, or you can find me by name, Tess Miller, on Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Have a great week. Happy New Year. And I'll see you next Tuesday for another episode of Growing in Uncertainty. Take care.